so I had to be like, we'll start working on it next week.
I just forgot to turn the phone off. Unless it's my bookie telling me I want a lot of money.
It's Moreland.
I'm probably interrupting across the list on a Friday. Nathan Moreland here. Give me a call when you can. It's about, I guess it's about 5:30 your time. I'll be in the car for a bit. Let's try to connect. Hope all's well.
Perfect. He's interrupted us while we're doing this. He's absolutely right.
You know, I saw a photo the other day. It was like something about the Athens music scene in the 80s. And it was in front of, not a fountain, but the...
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of us. It was People Magazine.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was People Magazine. It was out in front of the Euro place out by the camp, right around the corner from where the arches are.
It's always hard to tell Nathan in old photos because
I had some hair in my head
he's
still.
so tall compared to everybody else. Like, I guess they put something in the water.
I was hanging on the pole there along with everybody else.
But you look like you're like 6'3" when you're compared to anyone else of your generation.
That was kind of interesting, that whole...
Yeah, I was wondering if I was like, that looks like...
Yeah, it was me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put that photo in. I'll find it and I'll...
Put it on a t-shirt next time.
Yeah. I'm working on a new gold shirt. I'm working on modifying the one I was going to release.
Well, we've had a fairly productive couple weeks in the shop. Things have kind of been clicking away. We got a lot of stuff done. Most of it turned out okay.
Oh, I'm happy.
Well, we finally got the R90S squared away. We finally got Jess's bike, which we spent 2 weeks on, fixed. Garrett got done with Peter Korb's bike. We're not 100% done, but it's back together and rideable, and it's not running the way we want it to. But a lot of stuff got done. Murray came back. He's been gone for 13 weeks and started doing some stuff.
Maybe Murray is our good luck charm.
Yeah, we got this custom bike that we sold on Briga Trailer running. We had to reprogram the key.
Mm-hmm. As soon as Murray came back, everything started going right again.
I guess Murray's our talisman. He wards off evil spirits. Thank you, Murray. We got a bunch more work today. Not that we needed any, but it just gets put on the back of everything else. So, another pre-70 motor and some other stuff from another shop. Like somebody with a loud motorcycles outside the door wanting to come in, and you didn't close the door, so we heard all the noise. So they're gonna come in the middle of our.
That's not a Boxer, is it?
It sounded like a Harley to me.
Yeah, it sounded like a V-twin.
Yeah. Hard to say.
I bet you it's a Honda Shadow. How's it going?
Y'all close?
Yeah, we're in the middle of a podcast. You're in it now.
We'll
be here all day tomorrow. Thank you very much. We'll have to cut that part out.
Oh, what's going on with the white bike that was up here forever?
I need to ride it.
Oh, okay.
The R60.
But it's close to.
Yeah, it runs. It's very the motor. The lower end's very noisy. I don't have the starting procedure down real well. Sometimes it starts first kick. Sometimes it takes 10 or 12. I still don't have how much to tickle it and how much throttle to give it. But I need to ride it this coming week, and then get back with him and talk to him about the bike. But I think the motor needs to come apart. It's really, really noisy. I mean, it's a sidecar rig, so that automatically, really taxes the motor. It's an R60, so it's a little over 30 horsepower. I don't think the gearing's right on it. I think it's got the road gear on it, so somebody had to feather the clutch a bunch to get it moving. We'll see, but I'm going to try to ride it this week. And we've gotten a bunch of pre-70 work in all of a sudden, motors and bikes. And
it's because you're old.
it could be.
People
You know,
like that one guy told me one time, you're too young to work on my Slash 2. Yeah, that's how people feel.
well, if your Slash 2 is a 69 or your Slash 5 is a 70, it's only 1 year difference. They're,
Yeah, but
they're
then-
both still 50 years old.
But there's a big difference, you know.
Yes,
The
And-
design is,
right.
yeah.
But they're both still.
It's pretty crazy how far they jumped ahead in 1970.
Well, they had to catch up with the Joneses. I mean, they
Yeah.
had to make the bike be able to keep up with everybody else was doing. And the Japanese at the time were,
Killing it, yeah.
they'd taken over everything. They'd run the British out, and they were building, dependable, reliable, fast, decent motorcycles. So, the Germans had built dependable stuff, but nobody could call it fast.
Yeah.
28, 32, 42 horsepower. So, I don't know as it was a leap for BMW. I think they were pretty antiquated. They came out in '70 with a drum brake bike. When Honda came out in '69 with the 750, which was a 4-cylinder disc brake bike, and then BMW was just coming out with was still coming out with drum brake bikes. They didn't come out with disc brake bikes till '74. So, and then they were barely disc brakes.
Yeah. I wonder why they. Doesn't seem like it's that hard of a copy or design to copy. I wonder if there was something they didn't like about their disc brakes or.
Well, they came out with those, the ATE brakes, which were on an eccentric, but they were pushing against a fixed point. But so were the 750 Hondas. They were pushing against a fixed point.
Yeah.
They just weren't adjustable like the BMW was. So that's what the technology of the time was. It was a little while before people came out with brakes that squeezed from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So by them coming out with this type of thing, they were basically still keeping up with what the Japanese were doing, which was having a single-sided caliper
Yeah.
that only squeezed from one side. And it wasn't until '81 that BMW came out with the Brembo front end that squeezed from both sides. And by then, the Japanese had done it years before. So who knows? Who knows? How all that works or why they did what they did. I mean, to me, it's still interesting that we're building another conversion right here, and it's still interesting to me that you can take a '55 swing arm bike and put a '95 BMW motor and transmission in it, and everything lines up as far as the driveline goes. Other stuff you got to do, but in terms of staying with the same design, I don't know a whole lot of bikes that you could take the motor out of a bike that's 50 years newer and bolt it right up and have it go down the street. Well, that's a plus or minus. Once the Germans find something that works, they stay with it for a long time. Even the bikes now, the oil heads are still, horizontally opposed. They're just not quite the same, but they've stayed with that format. It's worked well for them, and so they stuck with it. So in many ways, the fact that they stayed with that allows us to do a lot of things with parts and pieces and make bikes that never existed. When you make a conversion, to me, that's just an updated Slash 2. I think it's great. We could do our dual disc girls front end. We could put electric start in it. It's got horsepower. Doesn't need to have the slingers cleaned all the time.
Yeah.
We got an adaptive swing arm set up for the later model rear drives. We can basically make it, I won't say modern, but a much more modern,
Yeah.
a drivable bike.
Well, that's intimidating. Like the whole knowing the right amount to tickle, your cars.
Well, so they've always been idiosyncratic bikes.
Yeah.
That's always the case. But yeah, once they
just
went
like
to a
you
regular
said,
choke setup.
It's not like you just know what you're doing. Like you said with that bike, I don't have the starting procedure down.
Right.
Like you have to. Each bike is different
Each
and
bike
it's
is
weird
different.
and.
You start with the things you know, you try a couple things, and then you go from there. So,
No.
Like I said, I haven't started it enough to have it down. I will eventually, but I don't at the moment. So, and you're still working on bikes with little tiny nuts and washers and nothing that slips on, and so it's a lot more painstaking work. It's a lot more sometimes frustrating, but it's just, you know, it's you go, oh, why did they do this? Well, because they designed the bike in 1935, and it's the same bike as the pre-war civilian bikes. No wonder it's like this.
Yeah.
Slip-on connector. They'd never heard of a slip-on connector.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have anything interesting to add to that. I just.
It'll be a short across the lift today.